Let me turn the call over to Eric. My good friend Justin Aronoff put us on with his company. This is a game changer for everyone on the call. Eric, it's really nice to meet you. I'll let you take the mic from here and look forward to hearing more about this.
Sounds good. I appreciate it. Thanks everyone for jumping on. I was asked to come on here today, guys, to share a great earning opportunity. My name is Eric. I'm with United Business Solutions and located here in beautiful West Palm Beach. So I'm not sure how many of you guys have heard of the self-employed tax credit. It's a tax credit from the IRS that was designed to help self-employed workers recoup, basically refund funds during the difficult times of the pandemic, specifically years of 2020 and 2021. This credit is still active, and people can claim this credit up until April of 25. So we have another, 5-6 months here. And the credit allows people to claim up to $32,200. This is related to, if they miss days of work due to COVID, quarantine, vaccinations, testing, all of those different reasons, as well as if they were unable to work or miss work due to caring for a family member or a child who is out of school. So there's a lot of people affected. Our estimates, and just based on the research we've done, is there's about 45 to 50 million eligible Americans, that self-employed Americans, that could claim this credit, and the market is really untapped.
And
And
Eric, sorry to interrupt you there.
sure,
A
sure.
lot of the people, the 45 to 50 million people, everyone on this call is a 1099 contractor. So if anyone was a 1099 contractor during the time frame he's going to go over, you're eligible for the 32,000 or whatever you can get. So
Yeah,
that's free money. It's a grant.
exactly. That's absolutely correct. And you guys can do your own research. It's all public on the IRS website. And again, it's for self-employed individuals, people who filed Schedule C income on their taxes in 2020 or 2021 could claim this credit. So we're talking about gig workers, freelancers, 1099s, single member LLCs, all of those as well. So I'll tell you a little bit about what we built and that allows you guys to easily make referrals. And we have a streamlined process to do that. You can earn on every single referral. We have a beautiful compliant claimant portal, and you'll see kind of just what we built here. But I'll just go through a little bit of the platform, our company, how we built this, and a lot of the solutions that we've added to this to make it streamlined. So the brand that is being shared with claimants is United Business Solutions. The first thing we did is we partnered with Sickenzie Ross, a national firm. They're our CPA and legal firm. They are listed as the preparers and backing and have the liability on every single claim. They're reviewing these claims. We have a whole process for them. And a little bit about the process. Number one is it's extremely easy for any individual to go online and claim their credit. They don't need to obtain and upload their tax returns. As a matter of fact, we are actually pulling their tax and account transcripts directly from the IRS. So we have an integration with them. Our process is all automated, so it calculates everything. We don't have to do any of that manually, so that prevents mistakes, saves time, and it's just a really great process. But what makes this really powerful is that typically, if you guys have ever heard of the employee retention credit, which was a huge credit for W-2 employers, billions and billions of dollars have been sent out to them. But the difficult part of all of this is that everyone has to wait for their checks, from the IRS. And what we've done here is we've partnered with Community Bank and Trust, who is willing to advance these claims in under 30 days, which means that the claimant gets their money quickly, we get paid quickly as referral partners. Again, every single claim, we'll go through some earning examples. We'll take a look at the claim process. We'll look at some marketing. We have a very powerful referral partner portal. You can track, you have, all of your referrals. You have full visibility in real time. You can see them going through the process. You can see your commissions. You can get marketing material. It's a full toolbox for you guys to go out there. There's no cost at all. And like I said, every single person here on this call, I don't care who you are, people who file 1099 income, and they're all eligible for this credit, because at the end of the day, everyone has missed, or I said 99% of people have missed days of work due to some related COVID reason, and that would enable them to claim this credit. As I mentioned,
Eric,
yes,
I'm sorry to interrupt. I just want to point out
please.
something really important you just said. So, like ERC, everyone has to wait for their money, but the difference with this company, which this is why we're on the call, because of this, you're going to get your money immediately. So I don't know, is anyone else doing this but you?
There's a couple small competitors in the space. No one is doing advanced funding. No one has a claim process that's automated like ours, where we're pulling, tax transcripts. The resources, there's probably 5 or 6 massive companies that have gotten together to build this process. My job as far as, the role here is I spearhead all of the tech, the platform. So I have a really good understanding of all the pieces that, how this works. And that's what I'll be explaining today.
Very cool. So yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely need my grant after this call. So
Well, you're more than welcome to jump right in. So I'll just
Yeah,
go through a
same.
couple more. Yeah, please, absolutely. And I'm happy to answer any questions, guys. There's a lot to digest here, but happy to do some trainings with you guys in future weeks, show you guys how to use everything, how to use your referral partner portals. As far as compliance goes, guys, we've retained the former chief of staff, Tom Cullinan, who at the IRS, but so he actually went through our entire process. Wrote an opinion letter, went through everything that we've done, ensuring that. But in our process, we have all types of anti-money laundering checks. We have identity verifications in this process. As you can imagine, when it comes to the IRS, everything needs to be absolutely perfect. And so we've retained him to do that. I'll just skip ahead here a little bit, but our platform itself, we have the claimant process, which is what all of your referrals are going through. And then we have your referral partner portal, which is where you get all the marketing. You can track everything. So I'll jump over here, and I want to give you guys a quick idea of what does a marketing look like? What does a claimant see? What are they being introduced to? You really don't have to do much explaining. You let our platform and marketing do the talking for you. But you guys are more than welcome to learn and ask questions about this credit. But essentially, this is a landing page that you'd be able to share. It's tracked to your referral partner account. It explains that they can claim up to $32,200 or $220 for this credit. It kind of breaks down, okay, if you filed Schedule C income, if you're a sole proprietor, 1099, makes it relevant. So they kind of say, okay, I fit in this category. We explain that this program was designed and created under the American Rescue Plan Act. And it simply explains that you could be eligible if you've had illness, symptoms, quarantine, testing, caregiving, some of these reasons and challenges during the years of 2020 or 2021, which allows you to file for this credit. So this credit itself is 2 parts. We have to look at their net positive income during these years. And we also have to look at their COVID impact. And both of those pieces of information, as we collect that through our claim process, allows us to determine their eligibility and calculate the credit itself. We explain further about the program as well, also showing that the process is very easy. But this is just some typical marketing material so you guys can get an understanding of what are we sharing with people itself. But to make a referral, it's as simple as this. Everyone would, whoever's interested can sign up today. I'll drop a link that you guys can create your free referral partner account. You guys would get access to, your own landing pages and links, and you can share them with whomever. You can post it on social media. You can send out emails. You can, send it via SMS. And essentially, if somebody goes ahead and claims their credit, which kind of looks like this, I'm just going to go ahead and pre-populate this here, put in a fake email. So we collect their first name, last name, email, phone, and they can go ahead and begin their claim. And what this does is, number one, is it creates a lead in your portal, so they've gotten started, and it also creates a secure claimant account in our claimant portal, and begins immediately in step 1, where we pre-qualify the user. We ask them a series of questions just to determine, should we waste their time? Should we waste our time with this person? We ask them if they were self-employed in 2021. We give them very clear examples of what that means and different types of occupations that will make this relevant to them. And as you can see, everything from cafe owners to, personal chefs, mobile car washes, food delivery drivers, marketing agencies. It doesn't really matter. As long as they are, filed 1099, they'll be eligible. So I'll go ahead and click on yes. And then of course they would need to have filed taxes in the years of 2020 or 2021. And the reason why it's and not specific to 1 year is because what we do is we determine which year they had a higher net positive income. We're able to use either year to file for this credit. So both years are eligible to do that. So if the person did file taxes in these years, we go ahead and proceed. And then we ask them, if they miss any days of work due to COVID, we give them a bunch of examples, and even more detailed guidelines that help them understand their eligibility or the requirements for this credit itself. Yes, I was impacted by COVID. And then again, we just confirm in 2021, did you have a 1099 job or a W-2 job? If they select 1099, they proceed. If they had a W-2, then obviously they're not eligible. And if they select both, we ask them some more questions to determine their pre-qualification. I'll skip ahead here so you guys can get an idea of what someone can actually get for this credit. So we're in step 2. We pre-qualified, great. And what we're going to ask them is how many days are unable to work due to COVID reasons. This is for us to get them a number in front of them, get them excited for what they're potentially eligible for. And then we ask them how many days of work were they unable to, or how many days were they unable to work due to caring for a child. This actually has a massive impact on their credit amount. If they have children, a son, a daughter, stepdaughter, foster child, and again, I'm talking about school closures, daycare closures, at-home learning. So many parents had to stay home. They couldn't get a sitter. It was unexpected, whatever that is. That counts all towards this credit. And then we asked them what their average annual net income was in those years of 2020 or 2021. They can use an average. They can think of one year or the other year. It doesn't matter. So as you can see, I just dropped this all in the middle. I'm going to click on Get My Estimate. And as you can see, our system generated an estimate of $13,321 for this claimant. And it's really as simple as that. So they see this number. They go through the rest of the process. I'll share a little bit more. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but I'll just kind of talk about the steps here.
Eric, I'm sorry. I have one
please.
quick question. When you say net income on that last estimate, is that line 21 on the tax returns? Is that
line 6 on their 1040 SE form?
Okay.
Yeah, line 6 is after all of the adjustments and and all the other calculations that go into it. That's specifically, but luckily for us, some of our competitors require people to input that number from their tax returns and upload their tax returns, and that's where we lose a lot of people. Our conversion rates in this process is pretty crazy because we don't ask for for documentation. Our system is automated, and our integration with the IRS allows us to pull their financials from those tax years and calculate everything accurately. So whatever they tell us in the quick estimate on step 2, they can overestimate, underestimate. Later, once we pull their tax transcripts in step 4, we verify their identity, and that allows us to pull their tax transcripts. We will get those exact figures, but we break down this is where we get a little bit more nitty gritty. And Michael, please stop me if I'm getting too detailed here, but just so people understand how this credit is calculated. But the days that people were personally impacted by COVID, they're able to claim up to $511 per day. And of course, that all depends on what their income was. So what the government is basically doing is they're saying, look, this is how much you made in these years. So if you missed a day of work because of COVID, we are going to supplement that and give it to you towards your credit. The more someone has made, the higher their credit will be, along with their personal impact days and other impact days. So that's typically how it works, as opposed to ERC, which was, okay, there's a comparison of prior year's revenue to current year's revenue that you were impacted. And that's where they see, okay, you had a massive, loss or decline in revenue. And that's how they calculated that credit. This is actually a different calculation, and it's very black and white. So the person would basically say, great, they're gonna choose the actual days that they were unable to work between these 2 timeframes. They could choose 10 days in this time frame, January 1st, 21 to March 31st, 21, and April 1st, 21 to September 30th, 21. And all they do is they're going to say, okay, I was sick this entire week, whatever this looks like, they can go ahead and choose their days. They can do the same thing in this time frame. Here you can see I selected 8 days. Here's the actual the dates. And I'm going to do the same thing here. Again, the person might need to think back a little bit, but one thing I do want to mention is that the IRS does not require any upfront documentation or proof for valid impact days for these timeframes. That doesn't mean that the IRS can't come back and say, hey, we're rejecting this claim, we want more information, but they do not have the resources to verify the documentation and proof of every single claim. There's millions of claims going in, and it's a trust-based system. So now we're going to proceed, and it's literally the same thing. How many days did you miss work due to caring for a family member? Same exact thing, same time frames. We allow them to choose those dates. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Choose some of those dates.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
If you had if your pay was cut during COVID, like it wasn't related to sickness, whether it was you or a child, but you had less income, whether it was cut or whether you had less hours, do you qualify, or is it just due to sickness?
It's due to, so there's a list of guidelines, but it's literally, you know, and as I mentioned, specifically due to quarantine. Yeah, it's sickness or having to stay home because something related to your child or family member, if they were sick or their school was closed. But there's a list of reasons that was back in, let me see if I can go back here.
No, you don't have to go back. I was just
Well,
curious if it.
yeah, here's exactly the example. So, you know, if the individual was subject to federal, state, or local quarantine, was advised by a healthcare provider to self-quarantine, was experiencing COVID-19 symptoms, what the individual is caring for another individual who is subject to the same thing, caring for a child. So these are, and then they also extended it if they were recovering from any illness or conditions, or they were waiting for test results, or they were obtaining a vaccine. So these are really the reasons. It is COVID.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, of course, no problem. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll proceed. In the next step, we ask them if they had any children or dependents. If they say yes, we also are able to claim up to $200 per day for that situation. And in this case, the IRS does not require us to collect the actual dates for the you know, the impact from that child. So they can just use a slider here and say, okay, in this time frame, I, you know, was not able to work for 26 days, and this time frame was not able to work for 31 days, and we can proceed to the next step. We then ask them a couple more questions that they filed jointly with a spouse, which we, you know, branch off into a bit of a different process. I'll click no for the sake of demonstration. And then of course we just go ahead, we get their address, and we essentially finalize their account. I'll verbalize the next couple steps. I don't want to bore everyone with just going through this whole application, but essentially the next couple steps is they create their account. We verify their identity, which allows us to submit an 8821 form to the IRS. That is a consent form that allows us to pull their tax transcripts. Once our system receives those transcripts, you know what? I'm just going to I'll fill this out and then I can skip the next couple steps so I can just walk you guys through it.
I'm sorry, Eric, I have a quick question.
Please interrupt me.
I might be jumping the gun here, but, you know, say I have, you know, access to 30 car washes, right?
Correct.
Can we put signs with QR codes in the businesses?
Absolutely. There's really, you know, as long as you guys, if you're creating a sign, you're creating marketing or some printouts, you guys can use, and as I mentioned, we're going to talk about this referral partner portal. This is your toolbox. This is your marketing. As long as you guys create the marketing base and the verbiage on what we kind of use already, we're fine with you guys creating your own marketing material. You know, as long as it's not too outlandish and, you know, say you're guaranteed $32,200 or anything like that. But absolutely, you guys can get creative.
Yeah, so we have several hundreds, almost 1,000 business listings. So
yeah, that's incredible.
Right there, if we just talk to our sellers and say, listen, we'll rev share with you on anyone that comes in, any customer that comes in and scans this on our end.
Mm-hmm.
Will you put the sign in? And imagine if we had that QR code in every single business that we have for sale.
Yeah. Did you know you could get up to $32,200? You know, are you self-employed? You know, I mean, it's public information. You know, obviously, it sounds a little too good to be true, but with a simple Google search, they will see the information on the IRS website.
Everyone said that about ERC, right? Everyone's like, it's too good to be true. But then look what happened. Everyone
exactly
ERC.
That's exactly right.
It's big money for everyone here.
Yeah.
Just stepping in here for a quick question, Eric. I know you had on the form fill out, and I just want to understand that a little bit further. You don't have to go back, but
no problem.
You had kind of had a prompt for if you made a W-2 and was a 1099. Can you walk me through how that would qualify, or it would just be less of a claim?
Absolutely. So if they had both a W-2 you know, employer and they had a side gig, right? You know, whatever, they cut hair on the side and they filed as a 1099, they can claim this credit. The reason we ask them is because the FFCRA, this program itself, was originally created for W-2 employers to give their employees as W-2s sick paid time off. And so if they had a W-2 job and the employer already utilized those credits to give that employee paid time off, they cannot also file as a 1099 as a self-employed individual. So that's why we need to know if they had both a W-2 and 1099 job and they didn't receive those credits from their employer, they can absolutely file. If their employer gave them paid time off and utilized this program to give them, that paid time off, they will not be able to do both. Does that help?
That makes sense. Is that audit done by you guys, or is that something that the
Oh,
W-2
absolutely.
needs to know?
When we pull their transcripts and everything, it tells us if they received that credit. Yes.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, you got it.
Very helpful.
Yeah.
Good morning, Eric. This is Dan Myers. Good morning.
Yes. Good morning. Of course.
Question: are you getting a power of attorney from every applicant? Is that how this works?
There's several forms. One of them is a 2848 form, which is a power of attorney. And also keep in mind that when we go back and we look at the advance, which you guys will see in the process in a second here, let me go back to this step here. So Community Bank and Trust is advancing the funds to these claimants via ACH bank deposit. And one of the forms that we also require the claimant to sign is an 8822 form, which is a change of address. So the bank is basically saying they're reviewing these claims, they're approving them, they're issuing those funds to the claimant and to United Business Solutions, which we use to pay out all of our referral partners. And in order for them to recoup their money, the claimant must sign the 8822 form, which changes the address where that check is going to be sent from the IRS. So instead of the claimant getting their check, they already got their funds, via bank deposit from Community Bank and Trust. That check is rerouted to the bank's lockbox. And so that's how that works. But yes, we're having them sign an 8822 change of address form. We're having them sign a 2848 power of attorney form as well, along with the 1040X, which is their, the amended 1040, as well as a 7202, which is their, lists out all the credits, which we'll see here in just a couple minutes.
Got it. And one more logistical question. Once this process is over, how do they change their address back?
It's done with any time they do any type of tax filing, it will automatically change their address back. So the next time they file something with the IRS, that address the address will get changed back to the tax address that's on their tax forms.
Got it. And not that I'm paranoid, but it's a limited power of attorney for a period of time. What is the when does that sort of drop off?
You know what? That's a great question. I don't quite have the answer, but I will absolutely find out from our accountants. But
I could actually jump in here. Hey, Eric.
Christian's here. There you go.
Yeah, so the 2848 is a very limited power of attorney. So this power of attorney, the scope of the power of attorney is just allowing our CPAs and EAs to call on behalf of the client to the IRS just to talk about anything regarding the 8821 form, which is the tax returns, as well as the change of address. So that is a limited scope to the 2848 for us.
Thanks.
Gotcha.
And Christian is with United Business Solutions as well. Him and I have been spearheading this project over the last 3-4 months, so I trust his answer. With that said, guys, I'm just going to proceed a little bit just so you can see a little bit more of the process. But essentially, we're here on step 4. We verify their identity with a standard KYC process. Take a picture of your government issued ID, take a picture of your face. Our system will verify that and allow us to pull their tax transcripts. I'm going to skip to the next steps. And basically now we're waiting on their tax transcripts to come in from the IRS. Once we receive those, I'll show you what that looks like. I'm actually going to pull in some transcripts here. Our system will automatically calculate everything, all of the impact days they provided to us, and everything that we receive as far as their transcripts go, we will receive into our system and it will calculate everything here as well. We'll wait for that to load, but essentially, once we have their final calculation, we reach back out to the claimant. We bring them back to the process to verify to choose their funding method. I'll go ahead and while that's running here, I have a flow chart here that I can kind of just show you guys. But here's an example of, zoom back out. Here's an example of what they would see. Okay, great. Here's your final credit amount. We also have to look at back taxes, right? That's important because that will be subtracted from their credit. We explained, if their final credit amount after we pulled their transcripts is different from their estimate, we explain why, because we're looking at all the deductions and, everything else that goes into their transcripts that are necessary to calculate this credit. And then we have them agree to some terms. This is a client attestation, which is, basically, that the claimant answered everything truthfully to the best of their ability and honestly. And then, of course, we have the engagement agreement with the accounting firm and legal firm. And we have the consulting agreement, which is for that 20%. Our fee for tax preparation, for the platform, for the processing, for everything that goes into this process, making it easy for them, is a 20% fee of their final credit. Out of that fee, that's where we pay all of our referral partners as well. Let's go ahead. I'll skip to the next step here. I'll make this easy so I don't bore you guys. But here's where they are choosing their, which option they want. They really have two options. They can pay their 20% fee up front, and then of course that allows, we don't have to do the change of address. They can receive their check directly. We process everything for them, or they can go with the advance, which is, again, we're issuing that advance within 20 to 30 business days directly to the claimant via ACH. And so I don't think anyone's going to be, wanting to wait 5, 6, 8, 10 months, however long the IRS decides to take to send that check, versus getting their funds in less than 30 days. So they can do that. In the next step here, we go ahead and they have to print out their documents, they have to sign them, and they have to mail them to our accounting firm. Unfortunately, it's an IRS requirement that there's wet signatures on these documents, but we give them a shipping label or a QR code. They just print it out, sign it, drop it at a post office. And then we receive those, review those for authenticity, make sure there's no tampering or anything like that. From there, we go ahead and we're able to verify their bank information. This is now we're getting into where they want to receive their funds. We verify their bank account using our partner Validify. It basically just does a quick micro deposit to their account, to their bank, online banking. They verify that deposit, and now we know that they own that bank account. What else do we got? That's all part of the verification process. And then really the last couple steps here is we do another just quick identity verification check, and they e-sign all of their documents. This is where the bank, the advanced bank documents are for the advance, all the terms of that and everything else. But that's really the process. And so what I want to, and I know there's probably a lot of questions, this is a lot to digest, but a couple things I want to let you guys know. Number one is our system is always reaching out and following up with the claimant, meaning that you put a referral in, they get started, they stop on step 2. Our system will be reminding them via SMS, via email, and we have phone resources as well to be following up with your leads, with your referrals, to encourage them very delicately to the next step. Hey, Eric, your $6,843 credit is waiting. We just need your signature, or we just need to verify your identity. So you guys do not have to constantly be following up or doing all of that, especially if you are bringing in businesses that are bringing in their referrals. But as I mentioned, every single one of you guys would have access to this referral portal. As we can see here, I'm under the My Business tab. Under referrals, we can see all of these referrals coming in. We can see what stage they're at, right? We can see here, this one's in pre-qualification. This one had a quick estimate. This one's in questionnaire. We can see their gross credit refunds, what the value of those are. And we can literally track this completely in real time. You have—
Hey, Eric, I apologize. Just, I'm not sure if you mentioned it earlier in the call. I'm assuming there's some percentage of the recovery that you get, we get, and ultimately winds up in the hands of the taxpayer. Can you touch on that?
Yes. And Christian, correct me if this is, if anything is, I made this slide recently so that I can give some earning examples here. But here's really how the referral process and the commissions work. So we charge a 20% fee, right? For, that's all of the platform and everything like that. That comes out of their gross credit. Off the top of that 20% fee, there's $645 that goes to our accountants as well. Some of that goes for the advanced processing. And so that comes right off of the credit. Now, as far as the process, you make a referral via your landing page link. The claimant completes the application, the claim is approved and funded, and commissions are paid out monthly. So here's an earning example. If you directly refer to deal, you're getting 20% of this 20%, okay? And we'll go through the example. If you bring in a referral partner, so let's say you have a friend or a colleague who also wants to do this, you can bring them in as a referral partner, and you're earning a 10% override from all of their deals, okay? And if they bring in a referral, so there's 2 tiers down. If they bring in someone else, you're going to earn a 5% override on all their deals. So there's a lot of, we drive a lot of behavior for people to build teams. A lot of our referral partners are strictly just doing that. Some of them are, actually doing the work and making the referrals directly, but you have the option to do that. So here's an example. $15,000 SETC credit, split it right down the middle, not the top, not the bottom. 20% of that of 15,000 minus the 645 fee is $2,355. 20% of that number is 471. So for $15,000 credit, you would earn $471. And this is a volume game. As far as I said before, there's just so many eligible individuals. And another great strategy I'll recommend is, large employer groups. We have brought on significant, Fortune 1,500 companies that are going to be issuing, or communicating, promoting this to all of their 1099s. And just from that one relationship, I mean, the income is significant, very, very significant. So if you guys have any relationships with, with large employer groups, that's, a great strategy. You get a couple of those and you're good, or, any other way as well. Does that help answer?
This is, I think that was great, Eric. This is tremendous for real estate agents, real estate brokerages, because they could call in meetings on weekends or whenever and literally get everything done from the staff or from the 1099s within 10, 15 minutes of them sitting down and going through the process. So reaching out to any business owners that have 1099s, tremendous opportunity. This whether you're reaching out to accountants that are private accountants that have their clients, or you're reaching out to major companies that, we have a few that we don't have NDA signed with that are, everybody knows their names, the major national companies that have thousands upon thousands of 1099s. So this is going from the mom and pops all the way up to the big guys.
Yeah, that's correct. Exactly. And then, the process is simple. You share a link with someone, they go through the process. That's it. It's very hands off. It's a simple referral. I don't recommend anyone to be following up with every single person. It's just a volume game. You don't get one, this guy's stuck, move on to the next. It's not like ERC where we're talking about millions of dollars potentially for every single referral or deal. When we take a look, as you guys get, sign up and get started, you can browse through this, but just a couple other sections. We have all the training. It goes over all of the statuses, video training on the portal, explaining everything, that a lot of the stuff that we talked about here today, so you can take your time with that. As far as marketing material, as I mentioned, we have our main landing page, we have videos, we have flyers. We also have industry, sector specific landing pages that cater towards real estate, health and medical, contractors and construction, drivers, that's a huge industry, truck drivers and Uber drivers and delivery drivers, as well as insurance agents. We have let me switch over to.
Hey, Eric, if I can interrupt you one more time, I apologize.
No, please.
So it sounds like for your small accounting practice with lots of 1099 clients, while they can do this as a matter of practice, because they deal with the IRS all the time, having this as a white label portal for themselves seems to be a much better solution for their time.
Yeah, and we do have an enterprise solution. I mean, we're talking about very, very large companies. We can, as far as our system goes, we can white label, we can co-brand. Of course, if the business is there, we will cater to that relationship, to make them happy. But yes, brand familiarity is very important. If an accountant, or a large employer group, all of their employees, recognize their name and brand, and there's trust there, we will do whatever's necessary in order to help that relationship. So we're absolutely open to that. It's more on a case-by-case basis. But yes, very valid point.
So if we introduce you to an accounting firm that, does something like this with you, and, there's a couple of thousand, again, I'm just throwing it out there,
yeah,
but a couple of thousand claims filed, how does that impact us per se?
Right. Great. Go ahead.
Are we on that we were part of that override?
Yeah, you could bring them in as a standard referral partner. Now we do have, we have situations where some of the, and I'm talking about very, very large organizations that, might require more more piece of the pie in order to incentivize them to do this, we can create a custom override agreement. We have custom referral partnership agreements. So, the big players out there, we'll sit down, we'll get the attorneys involved, we'll draft custom referral agreements. We've done that with various large enterprise relationships. So, but other than that, if you wanted to, say like on your dashboard here, I'm gonna go over here. You can literally bring them in as a new referral partner. So you could share this link with them. I'm gonna open it up, and they could literally sign up. They are now tagged to you. You would be earning that 10% default override on all of their claims. So you can do it using the platform. Everything's at the defaults. If there's, and of course, we're happy to pitch, present, just like we're doing here today, show them the process, build that trust, and get them excited to share this with their relationships. But yeah, you can use the platform, and then based on those conversations, we can determine if they need any customization, white labeling, special agreements, things like that.
And I know you started with the fact of, they could do this on their own. Without a doubt, every accountant can do this on their own. It's not a very complex and complicated formula. A lot of the accountants they just haven't pushed it out there to their clients. The biggest advantage that we have is the upfront money for the clients and giving them the advance. So partnering up with a bank that has committed to advance every one of these clients, as long as the tax liability is not too large and it's above a certain amount of credit, that's our greatest advantage. That is worth everything to every one of these accounts, because now instead of going to their clients and asking them to pay for a service that they're providing, and then the client has to actually wait for 6 months, 9 months, 10 months, God knows whenever the IRS is going to come and give them this credit, that's the biggest advantage that we have. And that's what's creating the opportunity that we have here.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And again, sorry for the follow-up, but assuming for whatever reason a claim is denied and someone received funds, there's no refunds, right? It's on you, so to speak.
I'm a little confused with the question. So you're saying, let's say you've
advanced funds to a claim to a taxpayer, and for whatever reason, the IRS says we're denying the claim.
So as of right now, that we have to go through the Community Bank and Trust hasn't finalized. They haven't finalized the bank documents yet. So we are going through that. There is a clawback based off of certain criteria, right? If there was, we've put together what we think is the best program to eliminate fraud as much as we possibly could. But if there's a case of fraud or something like that, I'm assuming the bank is going to look to claw back their funds. Again, we're also talking about much smaller dollars than ERC. ERC, we're talking, claimants could have had 10 million, 20 million that went to them. We're talking average credits of 10,000, 15,000. We're not really sure exactly where that's going to lie. The Community Bank and Trust will have some type of clawback, but I think it's going to be based around fraudulent activity, stuff like that. And that's really the only reason why the IRS wouldn't follow through with this credit.
Yeah. The calculation itself is black and white. And yeah, good answer, Christian. They also do keep a reserve, from what I understand. The bank does have a reserve, so they can make that determination as well. Great question. Yeah. So again, anybody who has those large relationships, we're absolutely willing to discuss, make them happy, deliver whatever they need in order to roll this out to their employers or relationships. You can use a portal to do that, or you can bring them in here. And then, as I mentioned, you have your referral link. Over here, you have access to all the commissions. We pay out commissions via ACH, so you can set up your payout settings. I'll probably end up doing another training with you guys, or you could look through the training here just to walk you through all the details of the portal, but I want to respect everyone's time. But yeah, it's been very exciting. We've been monitoring the process through our soft launch, and our conversion rates are very, very high. We've got a lot of great feedback from all of our relationships, from people going through the process. We have dedicated support. People can submit tickets. There's a live chat. We have a phone number as well. And yeah, it's been very exciting. The only I wish we all had a little bit more time. So, what I can do here as well, unless Michael wants me to touch upon a couple other topics here, but I'll drop a link in the chat if you guys want to create your free referral partner account. Obviously there's no obligation, but you guys can get started. you can poke around, you can make referrals, you can learn the process, you know, and I'm sure we'll schedule another training here with you guys. So really appreciate everyone's time. Happy to answer any more questions.
Eric, pleasure to meet you, buddy.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks for your time.
Quick question for you. With regards to any of the fees that are taken, is this all coming from the gross fees in the back end? Is there anything upfront for to the client that needs to be paid?
No. If they're going with the advance, there's nothing. If they choose the standard option, we do require their fees upfront, and then they can, you know, they'll get their check or their credit from the IRS. But you know, that we kind of designed that model because we want to push everyone towards the advance and keep things running smoothly.
Copy that.
There's no other cost for you guys, for the claimant at all. It's found money.
Wonderful, perfect. And if we want to onboard one of these larger enterprise clients, would you be available to do an introductory call if that's possible? Because these guys are pretty big.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll drop my email in the chat too. Happy to. By the way, we also do you know, a webinar on Wednesdays at 1 o'clock. So if you do end up signing up, you'll get notifications for that to learn. You know, we give updates, we train through the process. So everyone is welcome to join, but I'm happy to drop my email in the chat here. And if you have a relationship, we'll schedule a meeting and happy to walk them through.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Sounds good, guys. It's 10 o'clock. I don't want to take any more of your time. You know, we'll be in touch with, can we have the link so we can do it for ourselves personally? Yeah, once you sign up, you know, here, I'll just share with you guys real quick. Oh, I'm still sharing my screen. Okay, good to know. So once you sign up, you get access to this portal, right? This is your referral partner portal. You have access to everything. You would just basically go to your own referral link. So this is what you would use to share with a potential claimant. You would just go to that link yourself and do the process. So you would technically get credit for the commission as well as the credit for the claimant. So just use your own links, really. Again, I'll drop the link in the chat here for you guys so you can get started. And Michael, anything else you want us to talk about? I think we're good.
Hey, I'm sorry about that.
Oh, not a problem.
So no, everything's good. I'm pumped. I'm gonna get my claim. I have so many people that want to get their claims. I'm in the portal now. I'm just navigating through it. And no, I really appreciate your time, and we're gonna go crazy with this. I told Justin we're gonna take this to another level.
Love it. Yeah, it's an incredible program, guys. We've, by the way, you know, Christian, myself, and Justin have done billions of dollars in ERC, and we feel that the potential of this credit, you know, even given the short runway that we have, is far more significant. Especially with the, you know, and then with the advanced funding, that was the kicker. All of us are, you know, dealt with those challenges of waiting for those checks. The IRS, you know, put a pause, a memorandum in place on ERC. They finally started resuming those checks, but that hurt. A lot of people were really waiting on those funds. With this program, it's a lot different. So we are very, very excited. And a lot of our large, you know, enterprise relationships, you know, I'm not going to mention any names, but, you know, like common names that you guys all know, are sharing this with their employees through our platform, through our program. So very, very exciting, guys.